Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. Ladies and gentlemen, fear doesn't knock. It invades quietly, silently, sometimes with a whisper, sometimes with a storm. It shows up in the moments before you speak your truth, take a risk, or chase a dream. It disguises itself as overthinking, as self-doubt, as procrastination. But make no mistake, fear is not a protector. It's a prison. There was a time in my life when fear sat beside me every morning as I opened my eyes, whispering all the things that could go wrong. It wasn't loud. It wasn't monstrous. It was quiet, like a shadow, a weight that pressed against my chest when I tried to dream big. You see, fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just silently convinces you that you can't. But I learned something in that quiet. Fear is not the end. It is an invitation. It is the soul's way of showing you where the growth lies. What I've realized in my journey is this: fear is not your enemy, it is your mirror. And once you have the courage to face that reflection, to sit with it, understand it, and speak kindly to it, you become unstoppable. So today, I'm not here to tell you that you will live a life free from fear. I'm here to remind you that you have the power to walk through fear and still choose light. The greatest victories do not lie on the other side of fear. They are born through it. Embrace fear as a teacher, not a monster. Fear is not always loud. It doesn't always shout or bang on the doors of your heart. Sometimes it walks in quietly, sits in the corners of your thoughts, and watches you hesitate. It doesn't always need to roar to be powerful. It simply needs your silence to grow stronger. Many times, we confuse fear with weakness. We think that because we are afraid, we are incapable. But fear is not the proof of your weakness. It's the signal of your potential. It arrives when you are on the edge of something important, something sacred. There's a reason fear visits just before the leap. It's because fear knows this step matters. It's the soul's way of whispering, this moment will change you. And that whisper deserves to be heard, not hushed. Often we are taught to run from fear, to pretend it doesn't exist, to mask it with forced smiles and fake bravery. But the truth is, whatever we run from, we give power to. And whatever we face, we reclaim. Sitting with your fear is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's an act of bravery that goes unnoticed by the world but transforms your inner landscape completely. When you stop running, you begin listening. And when you listen, you realize fear is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to speak to the version of you that hasn't yet awakened. It's asking you to look inward and gently remove the layers you've used to protect yourself. Fear teaches you about the walls you've built, the dreams you've buried, the truths you've avoided. It opens the doors you've sealed shut and asks, are you ready now? And the choice, every time, remains yours. You learn things in fear that comfort could never teach you. You learn about your voice, about your breath, about how resilient your spirit truly is. You learn that shaking hands still have the power to create. Fear is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you where your wounds still bleed and where healing still needs to happen. It shows you what matters most by exposing what you're most afraid to lose. And when you sit in silence with your fear, when you stop fighting it, it begins to soften. It begins to speak with compassion. You realize it was never there to trap you. It was guiding you toward your deepest truths. Do not see fear as something ugly or broken. See it as sacred. It is a signal, not a sentence. It is a chapter, not your entire story. And within that chapter are the words that could set you free. There is beauty in the trembling. There is courage in the cracking. There is strength in not pretending to be fearless, but in walking hand in hand with fear toward the light. And once you allow fear to become your teacher, you realize how much wisdom lives in the spaces you once tried to avoid. You begin to grow where you once thought you would break. So when fear shows up, invite it in, sit with it, speak to it, learn from it. Let it point the way to your becoming, because sometimes fear doesn't block the path, it is the path. Redefined courage is choosing to show up. Shaking courage has been misrepresented in so many stories. We are taught that the brave never cry, that the fearless always win, that warriors never tremble. But what if that's not true? What if courage is simply the choice to keep showing up even when your heart is heavy? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just get out of bed when everything in you wants to stay hidden. It's the act of brushing your hair when your spirit feels undone. It's the choice to keep breathing through the chaos without knowing how the ending will look. Courage isn't loud. It doesn't always stand in the spotlight. It often exists in the shadows, where the quiet warriors whisper, "I'm still here," even when the world isn't watching. The strongest people are often the softest. They carry battles inside that no one sees. And every time they choose to move forward, to keep going, to speak kindly to themselves in the storm, they're writing a different kind of story. One not built on perfection, but on persistence. You don't need to wait until the fear goes away. You just need to make the next step with it sitting beside you. You may shake, but you will not shatter. You may stumble, but you will not stop. True courage is choosing action over paralysis. It's saying, even if I fail, I will still try. Because in that trying, something beautiful awakens inside you, a part of your soul that was never meant to be caged. Let yourself tremble. Let your voice quiver. Let your knees shake. You are still brave. You are still worthy. You are still enough. Every time you choose to show up, whether it's for a dream, a prayer, a person, or your own healing, you are strengthening the part of you that no longer depends on applause to be valid. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about being present. Fully present with your fear and still deciding to keep going. That's where transformation begins. Not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of relentless faith. Do not compare your bravery to someone else's highlight reel. Do not measure your strength by someone else's silence. You know what you carry. You know what you've survived. That is your proof of power. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And every step you take, however small, is still sacred. Even the hesitant steps, even the ones you wish had been stronger, they all count. The truth is, every person who has done something meaningful has done it afraid. The artist, the mother, the survivor, the dreamer, they all move forward not because fear left, but because they did not let it lead. So redefine what it means to be strong. Let it include softness. Let it welcome doubt. Let it wrap around your trembling voice and say, even this counts. Because it does. Speak light into your darkness. Darkness can feel endless when it lives inside us. It's the heavy silence in a crowded room, the whisper of doubt at 2 a.m., the cold weight of loneliness when no one seems to understand. Fear loves darkness because it hides in the shadows where no one is watching. But light does not always come as a blazing sunday. Sometimes it is the smallest flicker, a soft word, a gentle touch, the courage to whisper your truth when silence feels safer. When you speak your story, you break the spell that fear has cast. You take the power away from the shadows by letting the world see your wounds, your cracks, your scars. And in doing so, you remind yourself that you are still whole. For so long, many of us carry our pain like a secret, convinced that if we expose it, we will be judged, rejected, or diminished. But the opposite is true. There is freedom in honesty, healing in vulnerability. Light does not judge, it simply shines. And when you allow your story to be lit, you create space for others to find their own light too. Your voice becomes a bridge over dark waters, a beacon for those still lost in fear. Speaking light into your darkness is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting that your brokenness does not disqualify you from grace. It's about knowing that your wounds can be sacred entry points to compassion. Every time you speak your truth, you take a step away from fear's grasp. You weaken its hold on your heart. You remind yourself that your pain is part of your humanity, not the whole of it. Your story is not a burden, it is a gift. It is a testimony to survival, a declaration of strength, a message that says, I have been here and I am still here. Fear feeds on silence. It thrives on secrets kept in the dark. But when you share your story, you feed courage. You nurture hope. You invite healing. Do not be afraid to be seen. Do not be afraid to be heard. Your voice has power. Your truth has light. And your light can be the beginning of someone else's dawn. Even when the world does not understand, speak anyway. Even if your words tremble, speak anyway. Because courage lives in your willingness to be real. You may be surprised how many hearts are waiting for the very light only you can give. You are not alone in your struggle. And your light can be the chain that breaks another's prison. So speak gently to your own darkness, but speak boldly to the world. Illuminate the corners where fear still lurks, and watch how the shadows begin to fade. Remember, light does not erase the darkness immediately, but it always promises that the night is temporary and dawn is coming. Surround yourself with souls that see your light. We are not meant to walk this path alone. There is a sacredness in community, in being held by others who see not just your struggles, but your brilliance beyond them. Fear can isolate. It convinces you that you are alone in your pain, that no one will understand. But the truth is, there are souls out there who will recognize your light even when you cannot see it yourself. Find those people. Cherish them. Let them be your mirror when fear has clouded your vision. Their belief in you will become the oxygen your spirit needs to keep going. Not all company is good company. Some souls carry storms that will only add to your fear. It is okay to distance yourself from those who dim your light. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your worth, with those who celebrate your smallest victories, with those who hold space for your tears and still believe in your dreams. When fear threatens to convince you that you are less than, these souls will whisper the truth that you are enough, that you are strong, that your presence is a gift. Community does not mean perfection. It means acceptance. It means finding those who will walk beside you, not in front or behind, but shoulder to shoulder. Sometimes, just one person believing in you can change the course of your life. Sometimes, a kind word, a listening ear, a simple hug can remind you of your light when you have forgotten it. Be that person for someone else too. Let your light be a safe harbor. Let your compassion be the bridge that carries another across their fear. We were created for connection. Our souls grow in relationship. Our courage multiplies when it is shared. Fear often tries to convince us that we must be self-reliant, that needing others is weakness. But true strength lies in recognizing when we need each other. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to lean in. Vulnerability in community is a sign of profound courage. Let go of toxic connections that drain your energy and replace them with relationships that nourish your spirit. In those sacred spaces of love and acceptance, fear loses its power, and your light begins to shine brighter than ever. Transform your pain into purpose. Pain can feel like an endless night. It can weigh heavy on the heart, silence the soul, and steal the joy from even the brightest days. But pain is also a sacred teacher, a guide to purpose, a call to transformation. There is something holy in pain, not because pain itself is beautiful, but because it reveals the depths of our resilience and capacity to heal. Every scar you carry holds a story. Every tear you shed waters the soil where your purpose can grow. Your pain does not define you, but it can refine you. It can strip away what is false, leaving only what is true. When you allow your pain to speak, to breathe, to be seen, you invite healing. And healing is the first step toward purpose. Purpose is not always grand or public. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to live honestly, to love deeply, to keep moving forward. Many people find their mission in the very wounds that once threatened to break them. They turn their brokenness into bridges for others. You have a unique light born from your struggles, a wisdom that can only come from walking through darkness and choosing to rise. Your pain, when transformed, becomes a beacon for others lost in their own night. It is a sacred responsibility to take what once hurt you and use it to heal. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is a process of grace and patience, of courage and surrender. You may falter, you may stumble, but each step forward is an offering to your purpose. Do not rush the process. Do not judge your journey by others' timelines. Your purpose is unfolding exactly as it should, shaped by your pain and polished by your perseverance. In time, your story will not just be about surviving fear, it will be about thriving because of it. At the end of the day, fear will always visit us. It may knock, whisper, or roar, but it does not get to stay unless we invite it. To overcome fear is not to erase it, but to dance with it, to listen, to learn, and to rise despite its presence. You have already taken the bravest step simply by facing these truths, by embracing fear as a teacher, choosing courage even when trembling, speaking light into your darkness, surrounding yourself with those who see your light, and transforming pain into purpose. You are rewriting the story fear tried to write for you. Remember, your journey is sacred. And every step forward, no matter how small, is an act of rebellion against fear's power. In your trembling, there is strength. In your wounds, there is wisdom. And in your heart, there is an unshakable light waiting to shine. So go gently, go bravely, keep showing up, keep speaking your truth, keep choosing purpose over pain, because on the other side of fear is the life you were always meant to live.